Error recording. What internal port audio error? What are you talking about, you man? Tripper?
Big tripper.
Big tripper.
Big tripper. Oh, that could be a thing, couldn't it? Whenever something happens, you say something that rhymes with tripper, but it relates to the situation.
I'm going to stop on this to get this fucking working. It's not working for some reason. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and today we've whipped out the setup. We've got the podcast space out. We've got Dave beside me, two guests to the channel. SharpDiv's here as well. Of course, you're wearing a very fashionable top. I'm sure the subscribers will like that.
It was only one that fit me, mate. I've put on some lockdown beef, do you know what I mean?
Oh,
Tangerine, is that?
I have.
No, it's, what's it called again?
So no Mandarin?
Mandarin.
That was what they were calling it.
Mandarin Fanta or whatever.
Oh,
It's actually no bad, to be fair.
As for a training top bros, you know, it's the colour's a shame. But anyway, we're here to do a video today discussing the derby coming up on Saturday. It is going to be interesting. The first Old Firm probably ever that there's been no crowd at all. I don't have anything come to my mind about any with no fans. So
maybe World War.
Perhaps, aye. So I mean, you're talking about since at least something like the 1940s, maybe. So it's going to be fascinating. How are you feeling going into it? First of all, Dave, you must be. Excited.
I'm excited, but I'd be lying to you if I told you that I wasn't obviously nervous. You've got to be, you know, Celtic are a good team. They could definitely show up and give Rangers a really tough game.
Mm-hmm.
You know what Old Firms are like, it can go either way as well, but just the way that Rangers are playing, form-wise and all that sort of stuff at the moment, I'm still confident, obviously, going into it.
It's vice versa, it's same way here, you know, obviously as much as we might rant and rave about winning the league 9 times in a row and all the rest of it, it's still obviously a nervous game coming up for it. So the day, what we're doing is, right, this is a bit of a flashback. So about 2 years ago, I done a video with the famous CJ on my channel. Me and CJ done a video which we decided our combined modern era Old
What happened
Firm
in that
11.
video?
This is what I was going to address. I got abused rotten in that video. Rotten.
Nice,
I mean, it might be your day.
Was it because is Artur Boric your favourite ever?
Yeah, and I let him put Alan Mcgregor in. Right, we won't talk about it, but anyway.
It's a shame you're going to let me do it as well.
Well, see, that's why we've called in the big guns. We've got the WWE jersey out and everything here. The referee.
Charles Robinson, mate.
We need.
Yeah,
Let's just talk about that. Say it off camera. What a top!
It's a top. It's a nice one. I
unbelievable.
mean, it's not quite this. Not quite the Adidas number.
Yeah, I like a retro top though.
Mate, that top's out every day of the week.
Yeah,
that's a belter.
Silky smooth. This.
Retro's in at the moment.
It's all my retro tops.
This would be a great segue into a sponsor if we
had a sponsor.
So
classic football shirts. Anyway, so we've brought in David today to stop me getting the abuse of the channel and give him the abuse of the channel. So we're going to go for the 4-4-2. And we're going to put in 11 players, of course. Yep, of course, a classic. We're going 4-4-2, and we're going to make a wee case for each player, each position. We've got 30 seconds to justify why we think our club's player gets in this side, and by the end of the minute, the 30 seconds combined, Big Dave here will decide who goes in the place. So, and then by the end, of course, we'll find out who is, right now, the best Old Firm 11. Now, let's just give a little bit of context for people watching and wondering, how does this get weighed up? How are we doing it? We're judging off their careers, off their ability on paper, blah, blah, blah. We're judging it off 2020. So from January to now. Yes. So.
Can I use the 3 months before 2020?
Okay, right, we'll let you. Okay.
You could just go from the start of last season.
Right, okay, we'll go for 2000. I planned on this off camera. I know I've been pressured into change it, so that's me being bullied on the channel already. Right, we'll go from 2019-20 till now. Since last year, we never really had a complete season, and now we've got time to make up for it. So there's only one place to start. We're going to start with the goalkeepers, and for this, I'll go first. If I go past 30 seconds, feel free to tell me to clamp it. Just give me a wee. Have you got a wee timer? Nice, right? Okay, so I'm going to start. Vasilis Barkas, Greek international, £5 million signing. He's done nothing wrong for Celtic yet, despite what the critics might tell you. Yes, I understand Alan Mcgregor is a fantastic, experienced keeper, but if you're wanting somebody in for longevity, why would you want Mcgregor, right? Why would you want that? Plus, McGregor's not even started this season. It's been McLaughlin who's been there mostly. Barkas, solid keeper, commands the area. Big fan of him. No saying he's the best in the world, but certainly getting there.
Magic.
I feel in a 30 second kind of thing where you're making a case for Barkas. 15 of these seconds you were talking about Alan McGregor. To be quite honest with you, Alan McGregor, been there, done it. wore the t-shirt, won plenty of trophies at Rangers. He's done it at international level as well. You made a point, obviously, about him being the Greek international. We've seen it with Mcgregor. You're a big Scotland fan. You know how good he was for Scotland as well. And we've seen it so far in the last few years as well. I thought we were going to get a player that was a wee bit over the hill. You know, wasn't he going to be as good as he was in 2008? You know, when he was making saves against Diego and the likes, playing Rangers, taking Rangers maybe the UEFA Cup final. I know he never played in the final, but he was a massive part to that. I don't think Barkas ever did that.
Nice, I like the timing you two have got here.
Nice,
Sharp.
Got it. Was that, where was I in retrospect to 30
You were a
seconds?
few seconds short.
Was I?
That's probably what's going to cast my vote, is the fact that you ran out of time. When you only had 30 seconds to talk about why you wanted your guy to be the number one, and you couldn't even fill 30 seconds. So
He's talked about
listen,
McGregor as well.
The thing is though, I think you're absolutely right. Mcgregor has been really good for Rangers, but you know, I think he's definitely. I don't think he's as good now as he was when he first signed back. I think you're starting to notice little bits. For me, he still goes in this team because
I'm no surprised.
Potentially with injuries and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I just think
but see, when you've got, I've said it before in videos as well. John McLaughlin's came in and Gerrard now trusts him. You know, he's put in great performances. He's part of a team
so
now.
You can rest McGregor and keep him 4 games.
Exactly.
I mean, there's a reason people are wanting McLaughlin in the Scotland team. I mean, I wouldn't replace Marshall, but there is a credible shout now why McLaughlin is an option for Steve Clarke.
Good number 2.
I think Barkas getting a bit of a tough time as well. As you said, he's done absolutely nothing wrong at this point.
He's not really had a save to make.
I know, exactly. He's not really tested.
For me, I think even the most staunch Celtic man would find it hard to put Barkas.
I know. I didn't expect to win that debate. As soon as I kicked off, I was like, it's got to be McGregor anyway. So we'll head on to the right back position.
This is one of the toughest ones, I think.
Since I started, on you go. Make your case for your man.
Tav, of course. I mean, just look at his stats. I know that stats are obviously a wee bit overrated, but he scores a lot of goals. He's a pen king. You can always count on him. He's a captain. You know, I think he's got the best delivery in the league for the right back position. The stats obviously show that as well with the assists so far this season. He's had Player of the Month as well. And yeah, he's just been unbelievable. I think he's grown into his role as a captain as well, which is really good. And he's got an Old Firm goal as well.
That Old Firm goal still haunts me to this day. Why is Scott Bain no dealing with that? What's he doing? I don't know. Anyway, Jeremy Frimpong, look, one of the best, if not the best young player in Scotland. He's absolutely unbelievable. Comes off the bench, if he needs some, or if he starts a game, he brings a completely different dynamic. Look, James Tavernier for me is one of the most overrated players in the country. And I'm not saying he's no good, I just think he's overrated. He's a solid player, but Frimpong is just, the speed going forward. He's one of Celtic's best attacking threats at times.
What about his delivery? I'm sure Greg Taylor's
right wing back, unbelievable position for him. Yes, defensively has a lot to work on, but he's 19, and right now at 19, I think he could potentially be better than what Tavernier is at nearly 30?
Potentially.
Like, penalties, what do penalties matter? Did it matter at all, Bruno?
Well, I gave him 5 seconds added time because you interrupted.
Oh, that was a penalty you gave yourself there, son, just like Tavernier.
I'm obviously not basing this on my opinion, I'm basing it off what you two have just said.
Yep.
So, it's really tough, man. I think this is the toughest position on the pitch, I think.
Toughest position on the pitch,
because really? I think Tavernier is fantastic. I think he's really, really, really good. And I think that some Rangers fans are finally getting to the stage where they'll appreciate him. I don't think they did for such a long time. Tend to get a lot of stick. Whereas now I feel like people are really appreciating what he does defensively as well as offensively. I don't think there's any two ways about it. Jeremy Frimpong has been crucial for Celtic this season since he came in. I think that you take him out of that team, and yeah, it's a good point you make. He has been absolutely vital. I'm going to go Frimpong on this one.
Oh,
that is criminal.
Stings you, doesn't it?
That is criminal, David. That is criminal.
Come on, the Jezza.
That is actually criminal.
Oh my days, as you would say. Oh my days.
He's so vital to everything Celtic do just now. You take him out of that team, they really, really struggle.
Yep. And that is true. I think honestly, this season he's potentially Celtic's best player this season.
I think a lot of Celtic.
And that's I think that is. I think you're spot on with saying that is the hardest one because I think that is. I can understand why
Jeremy Frimpong is a really promising player. But if you isolate him, get him out and double up on him like Rangers did previously in the past,
honestly,
keep him out wide, he's not got a final product.
He's not got a final
product.
There's been a whole host of Old Firm games where James Tavernier's done absolutely nothing as well.
Aye, if you look at the Premier League right now, if they're buying in at 2 players, it's Frimpong every day.
And if we're doing this over the course of this,
you're talking a lot about potential, mate.
But even like right now in terms of quality, I think
you even said in your argument that he could potentially be better.
But we said at the start of the video 90-20.
No, I've been ambushed here. I've not even prepared anything.
I'm not prepared anything.
4 Celtic players and start having nerve
I had 4 Rangers players in mind. Don't worry.
2-3 months last year where James Tavernier's
was hopeless.
It was a good couple of months last year. It was hopeless.
What's Frimpong done? He's had about 18
Frimpong,
months.
no.
He's had about
But
18
we're
months
judging
in a
it
senior career.
We're judging that over
I
the
know.
18-month period, though.
Aye.
It's that 18-month period we said we were judging.
Well, if you want to talk about the last 3 months or something, James Tavernier was a part of a record-breaking
Yeah,
defence.
I agree with that, but
And he has the assist
spell
match.
in that where he wasn't very good. So if you judge him over that whole period, you can't just look at the last 3 months where I agree he's been fantastic.
Right, centre backs. Like,
Jesus Christ
I'm sure there'll be a few more controversial calls. I know he's going to dame you a couple here, so we'll move on to centre backs. I'll start. See, this is hard. I don't
your
know.
argument's good enough, and you'll get the whole
I
lot.
don't know who you're going to be
That's
starting.
true,
with.
he probably will.
So I'm going to start my first centre back, and I'm going to go with a man you're not a big fan of, Christopher Ajer. I'm going for Christopher Ajer. Look at him.
Put him on the right of a back four. Right
Well,
side
no,
back.
I'm just the side doesn't really matter now, right? Christopher Ajer, let me start by saying this, right? Celtic have got a bunch of centre backs I can pick from here. Near Baton could have potentially been a better option, but Christopher Ajer, for someone who I do believe as well can be overrated, is still a solid player. He completely gets it. His aggression is great. His defensive ability is fantastic when he's on his best. Yes, I think it's the case with every Celtic centre back that we have slip-up days, but so does Rangers centre backs. I don't think it's a two teams that are filled with great ones, but Christopher Ajer for me is one who is a great tackler. He's got a great mind, reads the game well, he can carry the ball, he's got everything you want in a modern day centre half.
Talk about mistakes, there's one man that plays centre half for Rangers that doesn't make a lot. I could probably count them in one hand. That's Phillip Pallander, played in the Serie A, came over here. What I like about him is you don't really get the headlines off him because he's quiet. His positional sense is really good. I mean, if you look at the Galatasaray there, he had Falcao in his back pocket. I think Connor Goldstein's even a better player when he's playing alongside him. 26-year-old, again, got the potential, Swedish international, a lot of clean sheets under his belt, and yeah, I think he's extraordinary. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and I don't know what else to say because I'm bloody hell, man. This is terrible.
It's hard to fill up time, innit?
But I think
You just can't
Pallander's
go
a
back
better
in your
option.
head.
I really
Right,
do.
well, that's your choice, Dave. Ajer or Hollander?
My favourite thing Dev's just said there about Hollander is that you don't notice about quite a lot because I think Hollander is a defender first and foremost. And the reason that, and there's a lot of Celtic fans I know who will agree with this, whether they want to admit it in the comments is a different thing. Christopher Ajer, if he was as intense and committed with his defending as he is with his ball playing and the way he runs out with the ball and all the rest of it, I think Hollander for me has to be in there. Just purely on the Rangers defensive records. The fact that you made a video saying that Christopher Ajer was the most overrated player at Celtic also comes in.
I know, I guess I don't help my case there. I'm backtracking myself. But look, for me, I think I really wanted to go with Beaton. I really did. But the thing is, I
Pretty much, you alley-ooped me though. With Christopher Ajer, I could just easily go with Hollander.
I would have said, if you're going with Beaton, I'd have been, for me, Beaton's a better defender. I'd rather have Beaton at centre half than Ajer.
So actually I made my case for Beaton, you might have
I think
considered
you
it.
should.
Alright, okay. So
But, for me, Hollander gets in there.
One of my biggest things about yours was you said that he's fantastic defensively.
I don't think he is.
That's something I majorly disagree with.
Right, but this is the thing, right?
I think he's a good player, mate.
Christopher
I do think he's
Ajer's
a good
in that
player.
case where, right, see when he does have a game that is brilliant, defending, it's spot on, his tackling's there, he's tracking back's great, everything else defensively. See when that's good, nobody talks about it. Nobody. It's like, I don't even want to compare him to Harry
And nobody ever talks about Big Hollander, which is
Harry
good.
Maguire, for example, right, he can have a cracking game, nobody says a thing. The minute something goes wrong, everywhere. That's what happens with Ajer as well, I think. And that's why I also don't think he's overrated.
Fans themselves,
I know, and that's a sad case yet, but you know, with Ajer, yes, I do think he is overrated, mostly because of the fact that £20 million to AC Milan, I don't think that was.
You'd bite
the hand off. Sure. Like, anyway, second centre half, Div, you've got to kick us off for this one.
It's a tough one, this. A really tough one. I'm already looking forward to the decision because I know this. Thank you, choice.
I think I already know who you're going for, but
that's only one
obviously
option.
I need to go for Connor Goldstein. He's the leader at the back for Rangers so far this season. He's a vice captain. I think you're seeing, you know, when there's no fans in and stuff like that, he is one that galvanises the side again this season. Part of a record-breaking centre half partnership, part of a record-breaking defence. He has got his flaws, of course, which we've seen once this season so far. But in that game, I thought that he showed great character, you know, to bounce back and stuff. And then in the following games, so that's something I like about Connor Goldstein. He always seems to, you know, not let his mistakes get to him, and he keeps getting better. And he's actually becoming a bit of a part of the attacking play for Rangers as well. Boys in the box. There we go.
Right. easy for me, Shane Duffy. This is it, saying it straight away. Best centre-half in Scotland, there's no doubt about it. I don't see how there's any competition when it comes to this. He's came in from the Premier League, he's took what some would call a step down, he's coming in, he's absolutely bossing it. Aerial threat, scores goals, defensively solid. We talk about people's weaknesses in the side of Connor Goldson. There's only really one for me with Shane Duffy, there's no flaws, and that's perhaps his speed. But the calmness, the organisation that he's brought to the back line with the experience that he has, doesn't require him to use his speed a lot, because we've looked so much better. He's improved the people around him because of how good he is. He's an Ireland captain, potential Celtic captain. Scotland captain. There you go. There you go.
I'm really annoyed at you two because I wish you'd have given me these two in the opposite positions. See, if I was to play about
That's
two,
why. No, I was going to go for Goldson, but you set me up with alley-oot. I said to go for Pallander
so
to
for
get
me,
one
I
of
was
the
to
goal.
pick two. I had to go Duffy Goldson for me. Listen, I think Goldson has had loads of critics. You know, maybe a bit unjust since he's been at Rangers, because I think he plays all the time. He's always the one that plays. You know, he's made a few mistakes with the fact that he keeps playing. I think I agree, he's getting better and better. I think this season he's been fantastic.
One of the crazy things, sorry to cut you off, but about Goldson was before he came to Rangers, played like 5 games in 3 years because of heart condition, and his first season played like 50 odd games. That's mental.
No, he is absolutely, you know, I think he's very, very, very good. He's got that good combination where he can play, you know, he's good with the ball at his feet, but he's also got that aggression, he's good in the air. But I think Ryan makes a really good case with Duffy. I think it's hard to argue. I think just when he came in, I was a little bit sceptical. I said to you, I was like, I don't know if he'll do as well as you all think he's going to do, but
there was no doubt.
I think for Big Duffy. I mean, obviously the old firm coming up.
That'll be
his
a big
biggest
test.
test. We Nisbet had them running about a wee bit in the first half at Celtic.
But the difference he's made in such a short period of time from the start of the season, Celtic looked dreadful at the back.
He was a signing they needed.
He was the biggest signing this summer.
Defender.
I think the aerial threat going forward as well. He's going to score. I mean,
I actually don't think that he'll score as much as he's think. See, this is what I've always found. See, every time like one of the old firm brings in a centre half, they always score a few in the first few games. Big Pallander done it, Big Goldson's done it, Edmondson even done it. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know if he'll score as much. I don't know if we're underrating our defenders.
Even Sviatchenko, when he first came in, I think he got a first couple of goals for
Celtic. As much as it's annoying me that I couldn't have had Goldson and Duffy,
well, it's up to you. You're the referee. You can do a switch for Goldson and Pallander.
I don't like how we did the left one and then the right one. It's just.
Well, do you know what? I just want to.
I know it's his channel. He changed the news.
Right, this is the one which I really don't have much of a case to
make.
I had
Goldson and Duffy in my team, by the way.
Did you?
Well,
there we go.
Obviously, I had Tavitt right.
See, what I had was, for my back four in my team, was the 2 Rangers I should be saying that when we're coming up for the left back. I had the 2 Rangers full back.
Just restart the video.
I had 2 Celtic centre halves.
Just save some time in the video here.
I know, left back, is there much of a debate to have here? Is there even a debate? I mean,
the only thing I would say is that. Sorry, on you go.
I would love to sit here and make a case for Diego Laxalt, but he's not played a game for Celtic yet, so who knows? He could come in and he could be like balling Mullingar for all we know. So there's no point. We may as well just give it to Barisic here.
Greg Taylor, what player?
I actually like Greg Taylor.
I
when he was
like
at
Greg Taylor
Kilmarnock. I think he went to Celtic a wee bit too early. He's obviously brought in Bolingoli, and at the time Greg Taylor was actually developing really nicely. He was the best left back in the league that year. Obviously Tierney had these injuries, Barisic wasn't up to speed, and he was brilliant defensively. But that's where his kind of traits are in it, defensively. I think with a couple more seasons at Kelly, he'd have been able maybe to develop going forward. Very much so, I agree with that. That's not really what you're needing, but maybe just to touch on Barisic for a wee setting. It all turned around for him when he scored this free kick away to St Mirren to break the deadlock. He was in at the side, he was getting injuries, you know, he was getting dropped for like the likes of John Flanagan and Halliday and stuff like that. And just the way the mindset shift for him has been incredible. You know, he's now Croatia's #1 left back, which is massive. Obviously, won the World Cup final a few years ago.
I mean, he'll be one that'll go for big money, I think. I don't think there's any doubt about that for me.
Definitely. The only thing that will hold him back is Scottish football and the money they put in for that, which is a shame.
Actually, to reverse it, it might not hold him back because clubs will think they can pay less to get him.
That's what
if he was in the Premiership, he might not get the move because they'd want too much money. You know what I'm saying? So, listen, Barisic is very good, but I think Taylor gets an unnecessary hard time.
I know, I think I agree with you. As a Celtic fan, I do agree. But anyway, that's the back four and the goalkeeper done. We move up the park. This is where it might get a bit more entertaining. I mean, we've already been talking for ages for the back four, so we'll move on to right midfield, and I may as well start. I'm going to start with Jamesy Forrest. Look, this quite hard. Celtic haven't played with a natural right midfielder in a long time. We've been playing that right wing back with James Forrest. Yes, we're judging off the last 18 months, but this is a man who's, you know, he's been in this team. He's won 9 straight league titles. He's won nearly 4 straight trebles. He's got all the characteristics of a winner. He's a serial winner. And yes, people judge him from time to time, but he always comes back strong. And when he plays his best, he's unplayable at that right wing. He's like Jimmy Johnson of the modern era. Maybe not as good, but he's brilliant. Can shoot, can dribble, can pass, does it all.
Rangers don't really have a lot on the right hand side, to be honest. Like some of your players are just coming through, like your Barkers and your Jones and stuff. But I'll need to go with Yanis Hadji then, because he's played there so far for Rangers quite a lot. He's shown in his limited time at Rangers so far he can handle big moments, like the Braga one. I was so impressed with that. He just galvanised our full side. Braga were dominating. He picked the game up. 21-year-old. Everybody forgets that. And he also gives you that something different for Rangers. He does something that I don't think a lot of players in the league can do, and it's find that killer pass, getting in between the midfield and the defence and just playing that pass. We've seen it in the first 5 games, done it against Hibs that were just sitting right in, and I think that's perfect for Rangers. You know, where teams are sitting back, and maybe it's the same for Celtic, you need somebody that does that.
It's a tough one.
Both good players.
I like Hadji, I really do like Hadji. He's not a right winger, he's not a right midfielder. Forrest, I like them.
See, that was one of the hardest parts about this video, was deciding a formation, because obviously Celtic play a completely different system.
There's also certain players from both sides that you just want to get in, that have to get in almost. So yeah, I like the argument you make about Forrest in terms of when he's a bit of bad form, he always bounces back, and he does always bounce back. Hadji's good, but he's not had a great start to the season, if we're honest. I mean,
yeah, you could say so, but he's also got the most assists in the league with 5.
Yeah,
has he?
It's bizarre. See, that's
and Greg Taylor's got 3 and Frimpong's
That's exactly another reason why I think stats never tell you the full story, because Greg Taylor's got plenty of assists already, Hadji as well, who hasn't actually been playing that much from the start. So, I don't know. I think it's hard to go. When
Same with Forrest, though, he's not really played, has he?
No.
Well, that's him out for 6 weeks now, Forrest. Well, start of the season he was annoyingly in the team every week, because to many
in terms of
disgruntled Celtic fans.
4-4-2, he'll suit better into that position than he would when he does play for Celtic as a wing back. He's not a wing back. I don't know how I could sit here and put Yanis Hadji as a right midfielder ahead of James Forrest. I just don't.
Okay, I'm surprised. I must admit, I'm surprised.
The main reason
I didn't think
that
Forrest would get this team. I thought you would have went with Aribo. Does he not play at the right sometimes?
He's playing through the middle, mate. He's not a right winger. He's played out in the right sometimes, but
Well, I think it's a nice balance with Forrest on the right as well. That Braga game was unbelievable, and he has got that in his locker, and he's one who will get better and better. But in terms of the last, since the start of last season, it's still got to be Forrest. I mean,
right, okay, middle of the park, and you get to start, so you have a chance to
please don't screw me over here, boys. Please don't screw me.
On you go. Who are you picking first?
No, because I can alley-oop him here. I can alley-oop him perfectly.
I'm trying to think
I'll go with Steve Davis.
Right,
I still think he's an unbelievable football player. He's got the international capabilities, the most capped outfield player for them, took them all the way to the Euros and stuff like that. And then for Rangers to pull it right back, everybody always says he's one of the best players he's played against, you know, like your Kevin Thompson say, your Barry Ferguson and stuff like that, and even the opposition players say that. He's got the killer pass also that we spoke about. I think he's one of the best passers in the league. He can control games now, he's diverse, he can pull into the 6 and play there, or he can push forward, and he's also got that experience which is going to be massive, I think, in the Old Firm game coming up. He could really take over in those types of games.
Fair play. I may as well throw it back to the video we done a wee while ago. I'll start with Scott Brown.
Oh, why have you done that?
So Scott Brown, Captain Invincible, the man who runs Scottish football undoubtedly. Doubt him at your peril, because he's the best captain I think this country has seen in the last 10, 15, 20 years perhaps. Unreal. He's done it all for a reason. Look, people, start of the season weren't rating what he's done, but last season, brilliant. Controlled the midfield. And I feel like this season, after starting slow, has came back the last 3 games and shown how important he is. The 2 starts, brilliant. The game where he came on against St Johnstone towards the last 10 minutes showed why we needed him. He helped change the dynamic of the game. He knows it all.
He knows it all. He
knows it all.
He
knows it all.
I can't believe he's done
He
this.
could win I'm a Celebrity. Is that what you're going to say?
I was going to say I'm a millionaire or whatever.
Who wants to be
He knows it all, doesn't he? Or the chase.
Imagine him on the chase. Jeez, oh.
I
don't think you get very far.
Davis would do well.
Oh, jeez.
Did you know one mate go with Brown?
I didn't want to have to make the choice between the two of them.
Mate, you're going to have a tougher choice next.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think
this is the toughest choice.
You really? Do you know who the next one is?
I think Steve Davis is absolutely brilliant. I also think that Scott Brown, you're right, for the last 10 years has just been unbelievable. Longevity continually there.
So Stevie Davis, but
I mean, the last 10 years he has been brilliant as well. Like Premier League player.
Captain of Southampton.
But then I suppose we need to go back to this part of the video. We're judging this since the start of last season, is where we're starting this for. Wow. Steve Davis this season, Steve Davis has been amazing. I've said it in the podcast loads of times. I think he's been really good. He looks back to his best. Whereas I don't think he was there last year.
Up until Christmas, I thought he was extraordinary.
Yeah,
and in Europe as well.
Sure.
In Europe, he controls games.
I don't think he was. I think he's now at a level that we expect him to be when he first came back in. This season he's been brilliant. Brown this season hasn't started that well, but you're right. As he's come back in the last couple of games, we're seeing a bit of what Scott Brown offers.
What about last season?
Last season, Brown was just Brown, man. I don't think he was.
I don't. The thing is with Brown, especially since he's hit that. Since he got that big injury when Ronnie Dyer was in charge and people wrote him off, said he was done, was never coming back. I think since then, what Brown has done is just he'll never do anything extraordinary. He's just there. He sets the tone. He sits in front of that back line. He gets the job done. But I can't even make any more cases. I suppose I've had my 30 seconds.
Yeah, I'm all in that little outburst influence. I really hate the fact that I've got to do this. I'm not the man for this. Like.
That's a tough one.
It is.
Threw him right under the bus,
yeah, big time.
Changing the rules and all that as well.
It's literally, and it's one of those like, no matter what I say here, there's going to be some sort of abuse coming.
When do you get TikTok videos made about you?
Oh, dear.
People sitting clipping you.
I can't cope with that. Please don't do that. I'm gonna have to go Scott Brown. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He's so important to Celtic. He has been for so long.
This is such a tough. And you know,
I feel like we're judging it too much on nostalgia, promise, in the past.
But then the Davis thing is a lot. I think nostalgia comes in for it as well because I don't think he was at the level anywhere near what we expected him to last season. You said
is Scott Brown at the same level though?
I think Scott Brown's been.
He's came under so much criticism. He's just been dropped 2 weeks ago.
Than he was 4 seasons ago. I think as he's got older, in the last few years, I think he has improved. I think.
He's some of his best. Some of his best football has been in the last 4 years. He was played of the year in 2018 for God's sake.
I think if you were to look at the start of last season, if you were to look at which team would suffer by losing one of them, I think Celtic would suffer more by losing Brown than Rangers would losing Davis.
Right, okay. Fair enough. Right. You've got an easy pick coming in too anyway, so anyway, this one, I may as well start off middle of the park, right. Callum Mcgregor. So, right, I know who you're going to come back with, that's going to be Ryan Jack, so let me put it short and simple. There's a reason Mcgregor starts here Ryan Jack for Scotland, because he's a better player. Because Callum Mcgregor is once again Mr. Consistent, he's quality, doesn't put a foot wrong. He's a man who has been getting so much of the praise for the last, since the start of the Rodgers era. He's developed into a completely new guy, and over the last 18 months, once again, done so much. This season, he's been playing different roles, and he's played all those roles brilliantly. If he's sitting behind the number 10, if he's playing as the number 10, whatever you want, he'll do it, because he's that good. So versatile, so good, so consistent. Look at his face, man. He knows he's got such a tough pick. See, one thing I want to say before you go with your 30 seconds is, for a minute, see 3 years ago, this video, it would be 11 Celtic players. It would have been. I don't think it was 3 years ago that when there been a Rangers player in there. Maybe Alan McGregor. Maybe Alan McGregor, because who did we have at the time? Craig Gordon. So maybe McGregor. Now it is so difficult.
Very well the job Gerrard
it's in terms of player development, Gerrard has done, in recruitment, Gerrard's done a great job there.
And also just quickly, because I want to give you time to think about this, because it's a tough choice which Rangers would feel to put forward. I think the shape we've gone with here suits Celtic a lot more than it suits Rangers, because
because the rules of the bloody video beforehand was it, well, we're going to talk about each of our picks and then choose one.
I know. I just think
so. We said 4-4-2 because 2 best centre mids, best right mid, best left mid, best 2 centre backs. You've absolutely screwed this up, Ryan.
This team is looking solid right now.
There's so many options, man. There's 3 options, I think. Come on, I can get in a bit. I'm not a fan of this.
Oh, they just helped him out by not getting him come on.
I feel like you're trying to set me up to
I'm absolutely not.
Joe Aribo or something like that.
But that's the thing, it's like there's Aribo, there's Arfield, there's Jack.
That's right, I was presuming he'd go Ryan, because I firmly believe that Ryan Jack is the best player at Rangers, so I was assuming he'd go for Ryan Jack.
Yeah, I'm not sure I agree with that.
I would have to go with Ryan Jack.
Ryan Jack, okay.
I know that you're probably not going to pick it.
It needs to be a big argument, I think.
I'm going to go with Ryan Jack. I mean, obviously compared to Callum McGregor, he's a different player. But in your first 30 seconds, I thought you were describing Ryan Jack. About him being able to control games. I think at the start of last season was the first season you've seen Ryan Jack really come into his own. Seen it in the cup final. We were unfortunate that day. I thought that he was immense. You know, he's starting to play for Scotland as well. You were saying that McGregor obviously starts in front of him, but in the last few games, it's been touch and touch. Mm-hmm. I think in Europe as well, he's been vital to the way that Rangers play. And when we've not had him through injury, we've not been the same team.
Good argument, to be fair. Good argument.
It's Callum McGregor, sorry.
Really?
I can't.
As quick as that?
I think Callum
it is undoubted. It is McGregor.
You know
as much as I think Ryan Jack is unbelievable, and I was actually hoping that you played Ryan Jack at the same time as McGregor, because if you picked Jack to go up against Brown, I think you'd have picked Jack every day. I don't know if you would have.
I'm not totally sure. I would have had.
No, we're going on fucking nostalgia and all that here, so.
Well, McGregor's not a nostalgic pick, man. He's absolutely. He's
I'm talking about Brown against Jack.
Yeah, maybe. You're right. It might be a more difficult case. As a midfield three, though, I would definitely have got. I'd have wanted Davis in there. So I would have wanted there's so many. If you look at Rangers as a midfield three, that's a lot of time would have won. I might slightly contradict myself here, but it's like would have won the All Firms recently. I think as a unit, they're so good. I think Davis is really good. I love Arfield. I think Abrebo's great. But I don't think you can leave Callum McGregor out of that team. I think he's.
That's it. So like,
He
so
plays
obviously,
every single game he's fit
also
for.
that was not happy with the picks I made, right? But over the last 18 months, and these three players, Brown, McGregor, Forrest, right now.
If you want to look at the old firms,
think
but as you said, we've
better.
dominated in the midfield. That's how
That's
we've won the games. And Callum
but at the end of
McGregor's
the
not
day-
A
been.
lot of that, I think, is system though, and I think the way they set up as a three is the way it works in Europe as well. I think they're so well suited in terms of the way they play. They're aggressive in the middle. They're
But over
aggressive,
that
they get
18 months, right, we're talking about the Old Firm games. Celtic ran away with the title last year, and that's part of that 18 months. So these three players have been doing it over the course of, I think, 30. Well, we didn't play the whole
Rangers
30
dominated
last
3
year.
of the games, though, did they?
But
I don't
like,
think. I just think no matter what shape you do, I don't think you leave Callum McGregor out for me.
well,
I think
not
it's-
Ibrox. I mean, he dominated Ibrox when we won 2-0.
He was in my original team.
Was he? Well, do you know, at the end of it,
This is
we'll
what
give
it is.
Aye,
both
cool.
the original teams at the end of it,
Right.
right? We'll give both the original teams at the end of it, right? Okay, left midfielder.
It's Ryan Kent. Sorry, mate.
Not even, you're not even going to hear me out for El Yunusi, no?
Don't even say El Yunusi, mate.
El
Please.
Yunusi, hell of a pussy. What a man, what a man.
That'd be a hell of a pussy if I came in and picked him.
Mate, El
For the
Yunusi,
times that I've seen Celtic, you were big in El Yunusi up and stuff, but I just don't know how he plays.
Yeah.
I just can't see what
he has found himself
gives.
in such a predicament just now that we are playing a 3-5-2 and he's getting forced to play as a striker. He's not a striker, he's not a left wing back either. I think he will be crying out for Lennon to go back to a 4-2-3-1 because that's when El Yunusi plays his best. El Yunusi has jumped up and scored the odd important goal here and there, but really, since he joined, no played a lot with the system that suits him. I feel bad for him because he is a top quality player, and the reports are going right now that next year Southampton want to start use him in the squad. They want to give him a chance.
That's mental though, judging on
Actually,
what.
I think we jumped the gun a little bit too quickly here because from the start of last season, there might be an argument to be made from the start of last season.
From the start, but I think it's
Yeah, I think Kent didn't have a great season last year.
that last year Kent was incredible. This year I will admit right now he's on form.
Still better than El
on
Yunusi.
form right now. He's probably the best player in the country. On form.
I'm still picking him.
On
but
form.
I'll say Tav's the best player on form right now.
Really?
Yes.
You think so?
That's why I won player of the month.
Ryan Kent, I think is. But like
Are
last
they fan
season,
votes like the
Kent was.
goals? Yeah, they fan votes like the goals.
Oh,
like a
you
Celtic
can't
Rangers
deny
captain
that.
wins goal in a month
I mean, you
every
can't deny last
No.
season that 7 million on Kent looked to be quite a bit steep for what they get with 3 assists or something.
That's just the way the market is, mate.
I know. I suppose
That's just the way the market is,
Aye.
and because he came up to Rangers and done well, the price went up a wee bit.
Aye.
I mean, you signed in Sham for what, 3.5-4 million, and he kicked a ball in senior football yet, did
Aye.
he? Or he Hibs on loan or
think it
whatever.
was
it
I
was.
think he's so
That's
vital
it.
to Rangers now. It seems like everything goes through Kent. I've watched them loads and loads
Do
of
you know
streams and stuff. They just give the ball to Kent, and he is the main man in that team now.
So you're picking Kent.
I am picking Kent, but what I will say is, I agree with you, the Celtic system doesn't suit El Yunusi now, whereas last season I thought he was mad. I mean, I picked him for player of the year, mind.
Yep, that's right. You did.
I picked him or Ryan Jack.
That's the thing.
both haven't done much.
There's a reason that Southampton picked him up for quite a big fee.
Games
He's a
like the
good player,
Lazio
he is a
game, the
good
Hibs game, he was really, really good. He showed it in spells he can be magic.
Is Stu Armstrong no playing his position then at Southampton? Is he kind of in his, because he plays through the middle and he plays with it.
Aye,
So there you go.
Kind
So
of.
El Yunusi's a lot of consistency, a bit like Kent. We saw in flashes with Kent last year, was amazing.
Aye.
But Kent this season, he's Rangers.
He's
man, I think,
unplayable
going
right
forward.
now. I'm not looking forward to seeing me Frimpong up against him on Saturday.
So you just gotta
That's if Kent turns up and plays his
Just gotta
best.
hope
That's
Frimpong
when you
can
put the
pin
weight
him back away,
on.
but
But
we'll
Kent
see.
loves the Old Firm, doesn't he? So he's always turned up and played
I
well.
think he's played
so.
about 2 games at Parkhead and scored 2
Aye,
goals.
so he
Last
he
season
loves
as
it.
well.
So
Yeah,
Kent gets
yeah.
in there. It's a nice balance as well. We have 2 winners and you know.
Right, okay, so that brings us on finally to the 2 forwards. And
I love Lee Griffiths, man. Get him in. No, I'm joking.
I was good. So who's starting here? So you made, well, we didn't even pick. I'll go first, right? I'll go first.
Don't screw me over here, boys. Please
Right,
don't.
I may as well go with the big man first. Odds on Edouard. If we're judging over 18, if we're judging over 18 months, then the last 18 months has showed that Odds on Edouard is one of the best players to ever play in this league. He's unbelievable. The technical ability, everything. Mate, he's perfect. I don't even know how many flaws. Like, people say, oh, he doesn't look bothered over the last few games or the rest of it. Look, the guy just came over the back in injury. He's been playing international football. He is shattered. And he'll come back and he'll come back strong. Whether that is this Saturday or not, because he's been isolating, who knows. But he is the best player in this country with no competition coming close to him, I don't think. There was at a time, Morelos, baby.
Jermaine Defoe.
Defoe. So you'll make this easy for him.
So it's Odds on Edouard.
Really?
Yes.
That quickly?
Oh, there's no debate there. So maybe 10 years ago you had a shout with Defoe.
37, still banging in the goals.
38. He's still a player. He is. Still a player.
I mean, his calf's hanging off now.
He'll still show you goals, mate.
Listen, I would get death threats if I picked Jermaine Defoe over Odds on Edouard. It's not even worth my
that would be
health and well-being
belongs to the door stuff.
deteriorating.
Oh man. Right.
You actually want to give an argument for Defoe over Edouard?
Not really, he is better though.
Defoe's
He
better.
might not be the day, he's better scoring goals. Better scoring goals. He's better scoring goals, which is a striker's position now. Is he not better at scoring goals?
Well, who's top scorer last season?
Who was top goal scorer up until he got injured?
But
he'd hardly kicked a ball.
I think the fact that not playing every week is a factor as well.
Maybe, it might be. I know, I'm just saying he's a better goal scorer. 100%.
I think he's...
I think 10 years ago, aye.
Still a better goal scorer.
What, Rangers third striker now?
Something like that.
That's a tough... You're a really tough argument to make that, mate, but I admire the determination.
And then finally, the last striker pick since Edouard has been just drafted in. You're starting.
I was going to say Roof last.
How many's Roof scored? Like 2?
I think he scored 2, mate, and he's not played. He's
good.
not played that well, I would say. But he still scored goals,
scorer,
and he was probably at about 50-60%.
Yeah.
He's not really a goal scorer, you're right.
So, Morelos, take it as you go, Michael.
Need to go with Alfredo Morelos. Now a Colombian international as well. Last season at the start, he was absolutely incredible. You know, with the numbers he was putting up in Europe, the numbers that he was putting up in the league as well. He's one of the best strikers the Rangers have had in the last 15-20 years. That's just a fact. And it shows this season as well how important he is, because obviously Rangers have signed some big players, but they've still brought it back in Alfredo Morelos. Yeah. He's pivotal to the way Rangers play, and I'm so glad that we've been able to keep him. And the thing I like about Alfredo is he gets better as well every season. Every year he seems to get better at something else, and he's just a complete goal scorer.
Hard to debate anything about Morelos there, but
it's very hard to debate,
I will go on with Vakun Isuaf Bayo. I'll go with Lee Griffiths. Look, let me put over a Yeti, yes. Lee Griffiths scored more goals between January to this point now than what Morelos has. And that's with him apparently losing the heat. It's apparently with him being done. It's apparently being no worth Celtic quality. Look, Lee Griffiths has been wrote off more times than, I don't even know where to go with that. Like, I really don't know where to go with that. I was going to get a wee bit again, but look, Lee, if we're talking about natural goal scorers,
Jermaine Defoe?
This man's potentially better than Defoe as a natural goal scorer. Potentially. His instinct to score goals is unreal.
Clip that.
Unreal.
Clip that.
Unreal, man.
Clip that.
Unreal. Mate, once again, maybe over the course of
you're not even done.
But over the course, this is a debate. You get pick a minute, right? But over the course of their careers, unreal, right? Defoe has been. He's been class, and he probably, as a whole career, yes, better goal scoring than Griffiths, no doubt. But over the last 18 months,
Griffiths was
2 years,
really fucking good in League One for goals, though, to be fair. You know, he was exceptional.
40 goals a season, man.
Against who?
Well, you're bigging down the league now.
Listen, I love Lee Griffiths, as you well know. I think he's fantastic, but I mean, I love your point about Alfredo Morelos. He's leaving. There was all the talk all the time when they brought guys in to replace him. He's still the main man for Rangers. And even though there's a big running joke, he doesn't score in the Old Firms. I've watched some of the Old Firms where he hasn't scored, but he's a pain in the arse for the Celtic defenders to deal with. Creates. One of my favourite things about Morelos is like the way he uses his body. Like he'll bully defenders. He runs channels so well, creates space for others. and he's still the main man at Rangers. I mean, he's still going to be the
I expect
striker.
him again.
You can just fling Alfredo Morelos up against anybody, you know, and he's going to cause problems.
We've been lucky in a broad Scottish football sense to have Morelos and Edouard the past couple of years because they've both been absolutely flying in Europe and domestically. And I think as a front two, I don't think there's many defences in Europe that fancy that going up against them two.
No, not at all. So that means for the team that David has refereed inside, before Div run through our teams, we have got an 11 in the 4-4-2 of in goals, Alan McGregor. We've got right back Jeremy Frimpong. We've got the centre halves of Pallander and Shane Duffy. Left back we've got Borna Barisic. So right now that's what, 3 Rangers players, 2 Celtic, 3 Rangers players, 2 Celtic players. Then we have Forrest, McGregor and Brown with Ryan Kent in the middle 4, which brings the tally to...
Don't make me count.
I think Rangers will get 5 or something.
Aye, and then up front, Morelos and Edouard. That's it, that is the team. And I think that's alright. You can't be too salty about that. That's quite even. 6 Celtic players, 5 Rangers players, that's not bad. That's not
quite
bad.
Even, but,
it's not bad at all. But what was right, so before we do wrap up the video, David, you can let us know what you think the best of the 3 teams was. What was your 11 that you picked coming in here preparing for?
Alan McGregor's in goal.
Right, okay.
I don't think it's a debate.
Right.
He's exceptional. He really is. Tav at right back as well. That was an easy decision for me. I'm not going to lie. It really was. Judging off, he's been incredible this season. He's been brilliant. I had Goldson and Duffy in centre-half positions. I think Goldson's the leading centre-half for Rangers. I think Duffy's came in, still not really proven yet, but he's looked good so far. Barisic, again, as we said, it's not really a debate.
Right,
I had McGregor in the midfield with Ryan Jack, Ryan Kent, Christie out on the right,
Christie
and
on the right, wow.
Edouard and Morelos up front. But if we're maybe going off this season, I think Edouard and Morelos haven't been at their best.
I know.
To be quite honest with you.
Thing, innit?
And if the boy Ayeti played more,
Aye.
and maybe if Roof even played more, they might have been in there. Just going forward.
Edouard still scored 5 goals in the league, isn't he?
4 goals.
He scored a hat-trick in the
against
first game of the
Hamilton,
season,
then
and I think
scored,
in the last 3 league games he had
scored
1
one.
shot.
Aye.
So,
It's mad. Like right now, you're probably looking at Ayeti being a definite in there for, and then I don't know who from Rangers. Cause I think
Ayeti's a better goal scorer than
I think Ayeti's going to end this season with 20+ goals.
If he needs to stay fit, that's a problem.
So my 11 that I went for was McGregor in goals once more. I would have loved to put Barkas, but I mean, there's not much an argument that I can make against McGregor. The fullbacks, I went for the 2 Rangers fullbacks. I went for Tavernier. I went for
all of a sudden, my likability
Barisic.
to the roof. I
Centre halves. I had Ayer and Duffy for centre halves. I had 2 Celtic centre halves. I had McGregor and Brown in front of them. Again, I wanted to kind of have Jack in there, but I couldn't put my name McGregor or Brown. So
I'm not even trying to be funny, but I would have Davis in there in front of Brown.
I'd have Davis over Jack in your team. I'd have Davis and McGregor.
It was very close for me.
Aye, so
I still think on his day, Steve Davis is the best. Aye. But just the way Ryan Jack's started to kind of grow into his own, he really is key.
So in front of them, I had obviously in front of centre half McGregor, Brown. Out left, I had Kent. Not much argument I can make there.
You did try though.
I did try. Out right, I had I think I had Forrest in mine as well. And then front two, Morelos Edouard again.
Christie, I know it's nice.
So there's not
I don't like Christie right at all. I wouldn't put him at right.
No,
I don't like him right.
I'm just having to fit him into my team.
He's a good player.
I'm saying that in the teams, if you did have Christie, you got them coming in full backs. You've got to get round, man. That'd be a nice wee balance. That.
That was it.
Menacing.
That's it.
You're both quite similar teams actually. Surprisingly, it's not a great deal.
I had 6 Rangers in.
There's no way in hell that you're getting the 2 Celtic centre halves for me.
How?
I just don't think so. If you talk to any Celtic fan, you ask them what the weakness has been this season into the defence. If you ask any Rangers fan what their standout strength was, they'd probably say the defence. So I think to take both Celtic centre halves is a brave shout.
I know. I suppose. Well, I can understand, but I believe
for me it's Duffy and Goldson. I wish I could have picked it in the team, but you didn't give me the chance.
No. That was because I swerved yous.
You did.
Yeah.
You did. So
I had to get it done.
That was mental.
That was mental.
It wasn't even planned, to be honest.
I was terrible at that.
It wasn't even planned. Right, well that does it. If you have enjoyed the video, make sure
I'm looking forward to the comments.
You know what you do, like and subscribe.
I can't believe he's the only one to pick Frimpong.
You're the only one. Yeah, good at convincing. Make sure to go and check out SharpDiv on YouTube, of course, the main man. I'm sure this week will be interesting. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit between ourselves and see what happens, and keep your eyes out for him and his reactions. David, you can see us talk Scottish football, and we're going to be filming a wee podcast between the 3 of us as well. So if you want to hear us talk more nonsense, You know where to find it, Talk Scottish Football. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all next time.
I need a lie down after that.